That break's not going to come in, for the next few hours. This midday is really hard to find a dry spot. We have light, widespread rain, some heavier downpours just above I-80 right around Franklin there. And we see where all of this rain is coming from the remnants of Zeta, really filling up not only our area, but the entire state. Now, if you are looking for a dry spot to maybe get outside, maybe go grocery shopping later this afternoon around 3, 4, 5 o'clock will be your best bet. Some of that coverage and intensity will decrease, but then peak once again as we go towards sunset and especially later this evening into the overnight hours. I'm looking at the latest storm tracker. It will time out when the rain will be completely out of here, and I'll show you that coming up in about 15 minutes.
Breaking now, the state health secretary is holding a news conference right now on the uptick in coronavirus cases in Pennsylvania and is talking about whether new restrictions will come into play. But first, Allegheny County Health Department has just sent out an update on new cases locally. It says it has learned of 149 new cases since yesterday. Those test results date back a week. The youngest case is in a 2-year-old. The oldest is 93. The county health department has also learned of 2 additional deaths. Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine says the state has seen an increase in cases in 50 out of the 67 counties, but says we are in a much better place than we were in the spring because of hospital care and testing.
This time, we have no further plans to expand into the red, yellow, green zones or that type of mitigation.
We're going to continue to monitor this Zoom meeting. We'll bring you any new developments tonight at 5 on Channel 11 News.
5 days until the election and more problems are popping up. Thousands of mail-in ballots may have been lost in Butler County, and the post office is investigating. We spoke with the county commissioner. She says they started, getting a lot of calls and emails from voters a few days ago saying they didn't get their mail-in ballots yet. Thousands of ballots had been sent out. The post office confirmed the mail came to the Butler post office and went to a Pittsburgh post office. But at this point, there's no concrete data on exactly how many people were impacted. In a statement, the post office says it is unaware of any significant delays or issues and is in regular contact with the Board of Elections as we work to locate and deliver ballots as they are presented to us. If you're one of the voters waiting on a ballot, here's what you could do today. Contact the Butler County Elections Office by email. You can go to the elections office and pick up a ballot, or you can go to your polling place on Election Day and cast a provisional vote. Sheriff's deputies are also hand-delivering ballots to elderly and those in nursing homes. If people are out of state, they will overnight those ballots. Meanwhile, the Westmoreland County Election Bureau says they've also received a number of calls from voters saying they have not received their mail-in ballots. More than 74,000 mail-in ballots have been requested, but only 71,000 have been delivered. If you have not yet received a mail-in ballot, county officials say head to the Election Bureau office and let them know. It will be voided in the system and a new ballot will be given to you to fill out.
A nonpartisan group is doing its part to make sure that everything goes smoothly at the polls on Tuesday. Channel 11's Mike Holden learned to help voters. They have quadrupled the number of volunteers they're sending out.
With the presidential election less than 1 week out, one group is working to make sure you are safe and there is absolutely no voter intimidation when you walk through doors like this to cast your ballot. The aim is to educate others about voter intimidation and stop it before it becomes a problem. The nonpartisan Pennsylvania Election Protection Coalition met today via Zoom. They outlined specific steps to protect voter rights ahead of November 3rd. They work to educate and clear up confusion over voting rules, misinformation, intimidation, and other issues. Because of extremely high expected turnout, they plan to send a record 2,000 volunteers to the polls. They say this is so important as every citizen's vote should count, and now is the time to prepare.
We want to make sure that every single voter that goes to a polling location feels empowered to vote, that there's no voter intimidation that gets in the way of them actually casting their ballots, and that first and foremost, that voting is a joyful experience.
And for perspective purposes, this group typically sends out just 500 volunteers. This election, they're sending out 2,000. The big question moving forward, well, what is voter intimidation and how do you spot it? We're breaking down that part of the story for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting in Ross, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
All right, thanks, Mike. Governor Tom Wolf and the Secretary of State are set to talk this afternoon about how the state is preparing for the election. You can look for new developments on that tonight on Channel 11 News starting at 5. Meantime, President Donald Trump will be in Butler County on Halloween. He's going to start the day in Bucks County but end his day at Pittsburgh-Butler Regional Airport for an outdoor rally. That event is set for 7 p.m. Today, both presidential candidates are rallying supporters in Florida. President Trump is scheduled to speak at a rally outside the Tampa Bay Bucs Stadium around 1:30, and Democratic nominee Joe Biden will host a drive-in rally this evening. And the Biden campaign released a photo of the former VP and his wife voting yesterday in Wilmington, Delaware. Delaware doesn't offer early in-person voting, but residents can vote early through an absentee ballot.
New at noon, we're getting a look at what's left of a house in the Hill District after part of it went crashing to the ground. The bricks started falling from the front of the home on Bryn Mawr Road at about midnight. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The house is abandoned, but someone lives next door, and engineers are out today making sure neighboring homes are safe. Police
in Armstrong County are asking for your help finding a man who's accused of assaulting a child. Michael Brucker is wanted by police in Gilpin Township. He was last seen in Apollo. A South Park man is now charged in an accident that killed a Jefferson Hills police officer. Zachary Foltz is facing homicide by vehicle and driving under the influence charges. Police say he was speeding on Old Clairton Road back in June when he crossed the center line and hit Officer Dale Proven's police car. Provence died 10 days later. He was a 15-year veteran of the Jefferson Hills Police Department.
France is on maximum alert after 3 people were killed in a church. A man armed with a knife attacked 2 women and a man at Nice's Notre Dame Church. The attacker was wounded by police. This is the 3rd attack in France since the publication of caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad last month. A terrorism investigation is now underway. In Philadelphia, a van was found abandoned with propane tanks and torches inside, and now an investigation is underway. Police found that van on the Ben Franklin Parkway late last night. The ATF and the bomb squad were called to the scene. No one was inside the van, but a witness told police they spotted a man running from the vehicle.
Middle schoolers in Seneca Valley will be learning remotely until November 11th. 3 teachers and 2 students at Ryan Gloyer Middle School have COVID, and several other teachers and students are waiting to get their test results back. The change only affects the middle school. So far, Seneca Valley has had 12 cases this year. The majority of kids who go to Pittsburgh public schools will not be returning to in-person learning until at least January, but some will be back November 9th. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond learned the district is only bringing back students that they call the most vulnerable.
Parents say this plan was never presented to families in the district, and it's going to have a lot of them continuing to try to figure out how to juggle work with basically homeschooling, because a majority of the kids in Pittsburgh public schools are going to keep learning at home on their computers for the rest of this year. Some parents we spoke with say they didn't know this new plan was even an option. What was approved last night only allows certain students to return to in-class learning at first. Essentially, it's an amendment to the plan that was shared with the public that drew hours of comments from parents for 2 straight nights. Here's how it's going to work. The plan basically breaks students into different groups. The first group will be English language learners and those with mental and physical disabilities. Those students will return to class on November 9th, possibly 4 days a week. 2 other groups of students in the district won't be coming back into schools until next year. They'll continue learning online until at least January 4th. The board will then decide whether to move them into hybrid learning, which of course is a mix of online and in-person classes. Some students will just continue online learning for the entire rest of this school year. The school board admits that they do understand parents' concerns. They'll continue to listen to those concerns. They want students back in classrooms as well, but at this point they say it's just too risky. Reporting in Oakland, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
2 weeks after becoming the top-ranked team in the country, the Pitt Panthers have suspended their men's soccer season. The team is pausing all team-related activities due to COVID-19 protocols. Officials would not say whether any players had tested positive. The team still plans to play in the ACC Championship tournament in 2 weeks. For the first time ever, the United States topped 80,000 new cases of COVID-19 in one day. According to an NBC News tally done yesterday, 80,662 people tested positive. There were also an additional 996 deaths on Wednesday. Taiwan has hit 200 days without any domestically transmitted cases of COVID-19. It highlights the island's continued success at keeping the virus under control. Taiwan CDC last reported a domestic case back in April. Since the pandemic began, Taiwan has recorded a total of 553 cases and just 7 deaths.
That's remarkable. Well, as coronavirus cases soar here, the country's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, now says a vaccine against the virus won't be available by the end of the year. President Trump has claimed in the past that a vaccine would be ready sooner. Our Jacqueline Fell has more from the nation's leading scientists who are fighting this virus.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease expert, says the U.S. is going in the wrong direction as coronavirus cases rise in 47 states. The U.S. is now averaging over 70,000 new cases per day. That's worse than the surges in the spring and summer. Health officials are urging people to wear a mask and social distance. Dr. Fauci says there should be a national mask mandate, telling CNBC if the Trump administration doesn't require it, which it isn't likely to, he hopes governors and mayors will mandate it locally. He also says until there's a vaccine and a large number of people take it, life cannot get back to normal.
I think it will be easily by the end of 2021 and perhaps even into the next year before we start having some semblances of normality.
Fauci adds that a vaccine isn't likely to be available until the new year at the earliest. President Trump has said that a vaccine would be ready sooner. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
We have widespread rain right now, but this afternoon we will have a break in coverage. I'm going to show you the best chance to get outside this afternoon on Storm Tracker. That's coming up after the break.
A local pastor is one of nearly 200 people charged in a sex trafficking sting. What he said in his sermon days before his arrest.
Half of my phone calls and half my emails are scams.
Me too. Only on 11, the local contractor police are warning people about and what happened when we confronted him.
investigated by police. We just wanted to see if there was any response.
Only 11 confronted a local contractor police are warning people about. They say Core Construction is giving out estimates for asphalt paving, but they aren't completing the job. Channel 11's Liz Kilmer found out an older couple came close to losing thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's a shame that they sound so convincing sometimes, and then that you're taking, they're taking your money.
Folks in Whitehall being vigilant as police are warning of possible fraud involving a local contractor. According to investigators, Core Construction is passing out this flyer and soliciting without a permit in the borough. And police say offering estimates for asphalt paving, but returning only to place a seal coat. The address on that flyer brings us here to what looks like a home on West 5th Avenue in McKeesport. We're going to knock and see if anyone wants to talk to us. And they're being investigated by police. We just wanted to see if there was any response. We then tried calling, but
hi, you have reached our main office.
Only got a voicemail. Core Construction. We did some more digging. The company has an F rating on Angie's List. And while no recent complaints have been filed with the Better Business Bureau, we did see a negative review. And spokesperson Caitlin Driscoll says the company isn't accredited by them.
BBB has attempted to request background information from the business, but to date has not received a response from the company yet.
She says, generally speaking, fraudulent schemes are on the rise during the pandemic, particularly online.
It's really important for consumers to be cautious of all situations, including potential in-person scenarios such as this one, especially when it comes to significant amounts of money like home improvement projects tend to request.
Police in Whitehall say an elderly resident came close to losing $3 grand in Core Construction's alleged scheme.
I'm always on alert.
Jerry Harlow says it won't happen to him.
I'm very careful.
Liz Kilmer, Channel 11 News.
There's a hearing this afternoon on the future of the Christopher Columbus statue in Shenley Park. Yesterday, the City Art Commission voted again to remove the statue. Mayor Bill Peduto also supports the move. Today's hearing will be over a lawsuit filed by the Italian Sons and Daughters of America. The group wants the statue to stay, claiming that city law prevents it from being moved.
A new warning about a wave of cyber attacks targeting U.S. hospitals. So far, at least 4 healthcare systems have been crippled. The FBI says there is credible information the same group may target hundreds of hospitals over the next few weeks. These cyber criminals are stealing data, disrupting healthcare services, and demanding a ransom. Although the attacks coincide with next week's election, there's no indication at this point they're motivated by anything but money.
At least 3 people have died. Millions are without power after Hurricane Zeta rolled in as a powerful Category 2 storm. Today, Gulf states are back in recovery mode yet again after taking a beating from Zeta. It is the 5th named storm to strike Louisiana this year. NBC's Morgan Chesky is in New Orleans with a look at the damage.
It is a tough day for so many people here in New Orleans, Louisiana today, and in other coastal communities now reeling from the impact of Hurricane Zeta, a powerful Category 2 storm whose winds were just 1 mile an hour shy at one point of being upgraded to a Category 3. We know that at least 3 deaths now blamed on this storm, an electrocution here in New Orleans, a drowning Mississippi, and in Georgia, 1 person was killed after these winds toppled a tree onto a home there. Right now, about 1 million people in the dark after power's been knocked out in multiple states. In fact, we know this fast-moving storm now making its way towards North Carolina, where a number of schools in Charlotte are studying remotely after conditions have begun to deteriorate there as well. The governor of Louisiana, meanwhile, expected to tour the worst of the damage here today in a state that is suffering from so much storm fatigue. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, New Orleans.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
After Zeta battered the southern states along the Gulf, we are getting widespread showers due to Zeta. Now, Zeta has downgraded to a tropical storm strength, even though it is no longer over open water. And as it continues to move inland, moving toward the north and toward the east, it will continue to weaken. But right now, giving widespread rain for our area. And just look at how much rain is being produced right now, not only for the entire region of our area, of our state, but even points toward the south. We have flash flood warnings in effect for portions of Virginia and toward North Carolina. I even got some pictures for my parents in Alabama, how much damage we had around our house. If you go to my social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can see those pictures. But it did a lot of damage. As far as here in our area, we really don't have too much to worry about. We're going to have that rain that's going to impact our day, especially if you're hitting the roadways. As far as any flooding concern, we don't really have that much of a concern because our area has been so dry, even some portions in a moderate drought. So this is actually some much needed rain that we're going to continue to get. If you do need to get outside this afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, we could see a dry slot here before more of that rain moves in going into the evening hours. And then closer to sunset throughout the night, the rain will be pretty consistent again. Mostly light rain periods of moderate to heavy downpours. Not really hearing a lot of thunder and lightning. That rain moving out as we go into tomorrow morning around 5 o'clock. Areas around Pittsburgh and toward the north looking to be dry. Now, we could have some wintry precipitation. There's a small chance coming up in the next half hour. I will show you a system moving through Sunday into Monday that brings us a better chance for snow, but that chance is there for tomorrow morning. We will definitely be watching that and keeping you updated by 8 o'clock. Our region looks to be pretty dry. Holding on to that cloud cover, though, as we go throughout the day. Also holding on to the 40s. Tomorrow will be a much cooler day. Temperatures only getting into the mid to upper 40s by the peak of the daytime heating, mostly cloudy as we head into the afternoon. And then we're talking about a very cold start to the weekend. Saturday morning, temperatures looking to be in the 30s, possibly even 20s on the board. And again, we have a cold front coming through Sunday, bringing us much colder weather as we enter the start of the new work week. Here's your 5-day forecast. After we're done with the rain today, clearing out for Friday, looking dry, but not the prettiest day to wrap up the work week. You can expect that cloud cover, gloomy skies to stick around. Again, I mentioned a much colder day, below freezing to start your day on Saturday, but we do rebound temperatures back into the 50s. A mix of sun and clouds. Overall, Saturday looks nice. And then we have a few showers second half of the day for Sunday. Again, could see a few flakes Sunday night into Monday morning. Monday, a very cold day, partly cloudy.
It doesn't really matter if I do this or not, because I can trust the polls. God, was that a mistake?
The polls got it all wrong in 2016. The changes made this time in hopes of winning back the trust of voters.
A little girl saw a magic trick on TikTok, so she decided to give it a try. A closer look at the X-ray and how a quarter ended up stuck in her throat.
A family forced from their home after a car slammed right into it. Chopper 11 was over the destruction of that scene as the story was breaking last night at 5. It happened along California Avenue in Pittsburgh's California Kirkbride neighborhood. The homeowners are no stranger to this. They just finished repairs on the house after another car had crashed into it last year. And this time, the house was destroyed and the family knew right away.
My mother was in the kitchen having a small meal at the time, so she didn't see exactly what happened, but she knew from the noise and from everything that happened in the house that it probably was another car.
The driver was thrown out of the car and was buried under the rubble. After they got him out, police had to talk him into going to the hospital. No one in the house was hurt. The Red Cross is now helping the family with a place to stay.
A Michigan girl almost died after trying to copy a magic trick that she saw on TikTok. In the trick, a user pretends to swallow a die. But the girl couldn't find one, so she used a quarter. Well, the quarter got lodged sideways in her throat and she was taken into emergency surgery. Doctors were able to remove it. She is doing okay.
We're tracking widespread showers as we go throughout the rest of your Thursday. Also tracking rain totals. I'll have more information coming up.
A pastor charged in a sex trafficking sting across state lines. What he told his church about temptation days before his arrest.
live look at Storm Tracker Doppler 11 radar, and look at that. It shows widespread rain, and those are the outer bands of the remnants of Hurricane Zeta, and apparently it's going to stick around for a good part of the day.
That's a lot of green there. Let's head back to meteorologist Jessica Faith. And Jessica, parts of our area could see some snowflakes even today.
Well, yeah, later tonight into tomorrow morning. So we have some very cold air coming in. But right now, again, we're dealing with the widespread rain, and you see it moving in from the southwest toward the northeast, showing really no chance for it stopping within the next hour or so. Later this afternoon, there's a small window for dry conditions if you do need to get out and about. I'll show you that coming up in about 15 minutes. But looking at the rest of this afternoon, looking soggy, looking cloudy, gloomy and cool. So we're going to keep rain chances around. But again, we could see some flakes, not only just going into tonight and tomorrow, but a better chance coming Sunday night into early Monday morning. We're going to talk about some wintry precipitation coming our way, along with what we expect for the rest of the day, coming up again about 15 minutes.
This local pastor is charged in a massive sex trafficking sting. He is one of nearly 200 people busted across the state line in Mahoning County, Ohio. Channel 11's Amy Marcinkowitz found out he also taught at a local school. He's now off the job.
He's not only a part-time instructor at Butler County Community College, he is the pastor of this church near Newcastle. He was arrested in Ohio's largest sex trafficking operation. Just across the border from PA into Ohio, Mahoning County Sheriff deputies arrested this man, Jared Mills. He is one of 177 people arrested in the statewide sting. He stood out to Channel 11 because A, he's from our area, Lawrence County, and B, he's the pastor at Clifton Flat Alliance Church just outside of Newcastle.
Is we have the fact that how to deal with temptation.
In fact, this is his October 18th sermon, one he put on the church's Facebook page just days before deputies arrested him.
How temptation is not always very in your face, or as they say, overt, but is secretive or covert and manipulative.
Mills is charged with felony attempted unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Court documents say he tried to engage in sexual contact with someone 13 to 16 years old. We stopped by the church. No one was there. We called the church, left a message for the accused pastor. We don't know what his status is here, but we do know BC3, after hearing about his arrest, placed him on a leave of absence. He is a part-time instructor there. The pastor did post bond, and he has a hearing Friday morning. Near Newcastle, Lawrence County, Amy Marcinkowitz, Channel 11 News.
Today and for the foreseeable future, all Greek life at Duquesne University has been suspended. The school says there's been repeated violations of COVID rules. In a letter, the university said fraternities and sororities held big parties and intentionally tried to limit contact tracing. In addition, students who went to the parties are all banned from all on-campus activities. The school didn't say how long this would last.
With the election just 5 days off now, a brand new study finds that we are speaking a very different and polarizing political language. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon sifted through more than 86 million YouTube comments and more than 200,000 news videos speaking with voters. They use translation algorithms typically used to translate from one language to another and found that some of the same words translated differently. For example, the word mask used by some viewers translated to muzzle for other viewers. While political disagreements are normal, researchers say people need to be speaking the same language, and they hope the study serves as an opportunity to improve communication.
Back in 2016, pre-election polls said Hillary Clinton would most likely be the next president. After that didn't happen, a lot of attention has been put on this year's polls and whether they can be trusted. Pollsters are defending their work, saying this year is different. They say Joe Biden's lead has been stable while Clinton's was up and down. And they say they made changes so they don't underestimate the support for President Trump.
What's helping this time also is that the huge early vote, those are already voters in the bank. So we're dealing with less of a population to begin with, which creates a more precise estimate in the end.
This year, pollsters also say there are half as many undecided voters as there was in 2016.
Many people have put off doctor appointments because of the pandemic, but it is just not worth the risk. Channel 11 news anchor Lisa Sylvester has more on a plea to women from Allegheny Health Network.
Cancer doesn't follow the rules, and it won't wait for the pandemic to subside.
The earlier that we catch them, the easier they are to treat.
1 out of every 8 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Patient mammograms came to a standstill, though, when COVID-19 cases first showed up in western Pennsylvania. Now, Allegheny Health Network wants to remind women, don't wait any longer.
And a lot of us, we have kids, jobs, partners, parents to take care of. I can't tell you how many patients have told me that, they put this off because they were taking care of a loved one.
AHN is following all CDC guidelines, including spacing out appointments to allow for more social distancing. They've added weekend hours and are extending the day in the morning and evenings to accommodate patients.
Since we've been going through the pandemic, we've been very, very careful about cleaning all surfaces, highly touched surfaces throughout the day, including in, waiting rooms or dressing rooms and the exam rooms. We're also restructured our schedule from what we would do like a year ago, for example.
They want you to pink out your calendar, remembering that early detection is key.
It's a very quick test, and it could save your life. So it's really, really important to come in and have that screening mammogram done.
Lisa Sylvester, Channel 11 News.
WPXI and AHN Women are partnering together for the All of Her Life Community Health Series. For a look at the resources available to you and for more about Pink Out, visit WPXI.com/AHN Women.
As coronavirus cases rise again across the country, so does the need for help. Doctors are in high demand during this pandemic with no clear end in sight, and several medical schools are seeing increases in enrollment. The Association of American Medical Colleges says applications are up 17% this year. That's an all-time high. AAMC says at nearly 24 medical schools, it's 25% higher compared to the same time last year. Experts don't know exactly what's behind the increase, but say it could be a reaction to the pandemic.
More restaurants and another big local event hit by the pandemic. We break down the shutdowns and the cancellations. And Thanksgiving, just under a month away now. The reason, though, you might want to start shopping for the big meal this weekend.
Pitt will preserve a trove of works by August Wilson. The school just got the late playwright's archives. They include 450 boxes of recordings, letters, artwork, poetry, and unpublished works. Pitt plans to keep the items at the Hillman Library. Wilson was from the Hill District. He died in 2005 of cancer. Newcastle's Cascade of Lights. You can add that to the list of big events canceled by coronavirus. The holiday event is funded by donations from businesses, and the mayor says this is not the year to ask business owners for extra cash. He also says the city can't afford to pay workers to set up the displays, which cost nearly $30,000.
Dozens of Applebee's and IHOP restaurants are going to be shutting their doors permanently. The parent company for the two chains announced it's shutting down up to 100 restaurants. They didn't say how many IHOP locations will be shuttered, but about 15 Applebee's locations could close their doors. The company blames the move partly on the economic impact of the pandemic. The closings are expected to happen over the next 6 months, and no word on which locations will be closing. So Thanksgiving is more than a month away now, but you may want to get a jump start on your planning. Many of us will be downsizing Thanksgiving traditions, and after store shelves emptied in the early days of the pandemic, stores are stocking up on popular Turkey Day supplies to avoid shortages.
Rain totals will be adding up as we go throughout the day, but in the next few days, our focus will shift from rain chances to snow chances. More details on what you can expect in the upcoming days coming up after the break.
This estimate has, over $9,000 damage.
A deer caused all that damage. Why there are more on the road right now and how you can keep this from happening to you. Windshields shattered, bumpers ripped off, and it's all because more deer are on our roads. Collisions involving deer typically peak as we head deeper into the fall. According to AAA, the average insurance claim is around $3,500. Channel 11's Joe Arena shows how you can avoid paying more.
This is one here. This red car is one, the silver car is one.
Pretty much everywhere you look in Jeff Critchlow's body shop parking lot,
We have some we're currently working on.
there's a car that's been damaged because of a deer.
More busy now with hunting and rutting season starting. Once again, it never really stops anymore, but you see a tremendous increase these next couple months.
And Jeff says the damage varies. For instance, someone who's able to drive their car to Jeff's body shop is usually looking at $1,500 to $3,500 in damage. But for deer strikes like this one, it's a much different story.
This is, a severe hit. They were obviously driving at a higher rate of speed, and this estimate has over $9,000 damage.
In fact, Jeff says if this SUV's airbag came out, the car probably would have been a total loss.
We just happen to live in a part of the country where there's more deer, and we have to act accordingly.
AAA spokesman Jim Garrity says it's never been more vital to take steps behind the wheel than during this time of year.
It's crucial to be paying attention to the road any time of the year, really, but this time of the year we just happen to deal with something that when you hit it, feels like hitting a brick wall.
And Jim says if you end up in Jeff's body shop, that doesn't mean you did something wrong. In fact, it makes more sense sometimes to hit a deer head on than trying to avoid the animal.
Sometimes you just have to be ready for as safe a collision as you can possibly have with the animal. And that might mean tapping the brakes slowly and only hitting it lightly. But what it shouldn't mean is swerving into the opposite lane.
And it's also a good idea to know your insurance. Typically, collision insurance doesn't cover deer strikes, but comprehensive does. And with all that pricey new technology on cars these days, making repairs more expensive, having the right insurance could save you a lot.
Vehicles are getting safer because they have new technologies going into them. Sensors in the bumpers, cameras behind the windshields, whatever. They're all in the name of making a vehicle a safer piece of equipment. But at the moment, they're more expensive to fix.
In Pittsburgh, Joe Arena, Channel 11 News.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Widespread steady rain continues as we go into the early afternoon hours, all due to Tropical Storm Zeta. Now, it's decreased in strength. That's why it's a tropical storm. But usually these systems, as they're over land, rapidly weaken. So the fact that it's still at a tropical storm strength is actually pretty impressive. Notice the movement is going to continue to track toward the north and east, taking the rain along with it. So rain chances decreasing as we go into tomorrow. Just a few leftover showers for Friday morning, but a much drier day. This is what you can expect. So within the next few hours, rain chances very elevated. The widespread rain continues, some scattered showers. So we're talking about breaks in the rainfall around 4 or 5 o'clock. If you need to get outside and get some things done, maybe go grocery shopping, that will be your time before the evening hours come, because look at how those rain chances skyrocket once again, filling up our landscape once again. Widespread showers continue for this evening into the nighttime hours, and most of the rain will continue to be seen mainly toward the south, those around I-80 and points toward the north. You still have a decent shot for showers, but the greater rain chance around Route 422, Pittsburgh, I-70 and points toward the south. So that's what we're tracking. Tracking rain chances also greater toward the south as well. 53 degrees for the high today. I think some spots due to the rain and cloud cover will only be in the upper 40s. So overall, a cool day today, a very soggy day. A few showers continue tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower 40s, around 41 degrees, and will continue to fall even around I-80. A few flakes are possible. We'll be tracking that to see the potential for a few flakes. Whatever wintry precipitation comes down, it won't stick. And then we're talking about a drier but much cooler day for tomorrow, keeping the cloud cover. If you want to get out for your run tomorrow, maybe because you couldn't today because of all of the rain, I would suggest the later the better, where we could see a few peaks of sunshine, but still mostly cloudy skies. And we're tracking better snow chance for Sunday, late Sunday into early Monday, with this cold front bringing some very cold air behind it. So for your day on Sunday, we will have a few showers, especially for the afternoon hours, kind of clearing out into the evening. Now watch this. Late into the nighttime hours, you see that white there. We could have some flakes, especially off toward the north. And here's the early morning hours on Monday. Could continue to see some spots seeing some snow. Continue to check in with us on this forecast late Sunday night into Monday if you are looking for some snow, because this forecast is it will continue to evolve. It will continue to pinpoint the details on the snow chances, but the light rain will continue today. Notice that tomorrow a much cooler day. For Saturday, actually looking pretty decent to get out and about. Mostly sunny but cool. A high of 51 degrees, showers and possibly snow late Sunday. Monday, another very cold day, but we're back to dry conditions with sunshine, a high of 42 degrees.
No, just not ready for that. A new list ranking the NFL's most hated teams is out, so where the black and gold ranks? That's next. First, though, here's local steals and deals. Lisa Robertson.
Lisa Robertson here with Local Steals and Deals, and this is one of the most popular ideas we have ever brought you. These are the Lotus trolley bags. Now, these are really cool grocery bags that allow you to be organized, efficient, carry things better, know where things are, not throw things away, throw things in the washing machine so you know where they came from. You get the idea. 4 amazing grocery bags, and here's how they work. Number 1, you're going to get this one, which is insulated. How great is that? You're also going to get one with sleeves and organization for eggs and a bottle of wine, because you know you're going to need that, as well as other things. You get 2 of the general purpose bags, but I just walk in the grocery store, right? Open it up, put it right in the cart. Now I have all 4 bags in the cart. Everything's organized as I'm picking it up and going, oh, the frozen food goes in the insulated. Oh, the eggs go here. And oh, the produce goes there. So now everything's organized. It's easy for me to see what I've gotten. It's easy for me to get in and out of the grocery store more quickly. And each of these bags carries up to 70 pounds. So when I'm going to my car, I put it over my shoulder. I'm supporting it with my whole body, not trying to be all the way out here. And I know what I have, I get it home easily, and I know where it came from. This isn't something where I'm walking in a store and I'm touching something everybody else. No, these are my bags from my house that came out of my washing machine. And how fabulous is that? By the way, right now my social life is pretty much limited to the grocery store, so I like to really look like a rock star when I go in. You should see the look on people's faces when I walk by with all 4 of these in my cart. They're like, whoa, what's up, right? It's awesome. These are one of the best ideas ever. You know you got a grocery shop. You know you want to be organized. You know you don't want to have a million extra things laying around. And you know you want to bring your bags to do it even better. Right now, if you go to localsteals.com, you can get these for 34% off. And by the way, they do great produce bags. You can find those on there as well. Great idea. Everybody needs it. I know you're going to love it.
The NFL is disputing a report from ESPN about the amount of people that will be allowed to attend the Super Bowl. ESPN said the NFL anticipated having about 20% capacity for the game in February in Tampa, but Sports Business Daily, quoting NFL Public Relations, says no capacity figure has yet been set at this time, so stay tuned. A new list is out ranking the most hated teams in the NFL, and the Steelers are on top. SportsInsider.com gathered the information on the most hated team in every state. It says it used more than 90,000 tweets to come up with this. The Steelers are considered the most hated team in 8 states. That is the most of any team. The Ravens, they say, are at the bottom of the list, but here's the catch. They are the most hated team in just 1 state, and that is Pennsylvania.
Well, a celebration in Squirrel Hill Whiteman Park is back open. A major renovation that started 4 years ago at the park off Solway Street has been completed. Along with a baseball field and basketball court and plenty of green space, the park now features play equipment for children of all abilities and specific equipment for children on the autism spectrum.
During what has been, needless to say, a challenging and often dark 2020, one that's been so difficult for so many families and individuals, I think it's not just helpful, it's critical that we celebrate the bright spots. And I would argue that this is a big bright spot of 2020 in this neighborhood.
The park also includes stormwater retention tanks and storage units beneath the park to help improve drainage along city streets and stop basement backups. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.